Imagine your recurring financial presentation, like the monthly results, for example. Now, think about the first thing that comes to mind when observing the reaction of your audience. Do they lack interest? Are they not focused on what you say? They are doing something else, sending an email, for example? Do they ask too many questions, or on the contrary, do not ask questions at all because they do not understand what you say? Or maybe you lack time to deliver all the information that you gathered? Well, to understand better what makes that a financial presentation fails, I interviewed many financial responsible in the biggest companies in the world, and I've observed 5 main recurring patterns in terms of reasons why finance presentation fails. And here are they. Well, the first one is that there is no clear message in a finance presentation. Generally, and I did that in the past too, finance professionals have a ton of data to analyze. And even to ensure completeness and accuracy, we analyze all the data. The problem is, when it comes to communicating it, we also want to deliver all this information without even ensuring that the information, the insight, is material, important, and actionable. And the result is simple. People, even from finance, go out of the meeting room without even knowing what the main message was to remember and to act upon. The second main reason why finance presentation fails, and that we've observed during our interviews with finance leaders in the biggest companies, was that there is no real consideration of the audience. Generally, how it works, for a monthly presentation, for example, you take your P&L, you analyze the variances, and then you go and deliver it. The same format, the same content, and the same way to express yourself. And it doesn't matter whether you speak to a marketing department, a production department, or the exco. Well, that doesn't work that way. Plus, one of the other issues is that we use jargon, and we do not adapt the way we speak to a non-finance audience. That means that non-finance people will be lost in terms, in vocab that they never heard of, or that doesn't really ring a bell in order for them to understand why it really matters to them. The result is simple. People don't feel concerned about the finance presentation, and they will miss important information that will be key for them in their daily life and in how they organize their own department. The third main reason is that there is no narrative used in a finance presentation. Generally, we use a logical or a linear structure that corresponds to how we analyzed our P&L, for example. Revenue, cost of sales, OPEX, other costs, EBITDA, and then we finish with cash flow. This is generally how finance presentations are delivered. But that doesn't correspond to how people understand their business. And the thing is, when you analyze the whole P&L, there are certainly links between the revenues and cost of sales, for example. And those are often lacking in a finance presentation. And this lack of flow makes that people are not really engaged and they do not really follow, and finally they are not interested anymore in what you say. The other problem is that this lack of narrative doesn't force finance professional to look for more than just information. That makes that when the information is delivered, people don't really understand why it matters to them, what the impact is on them, and what we have to do about it. The fourth main reason why finance presentations fail is that slides are too crowded. It's a general feedback that I've received. Slides are used as a report, and as such, they need to include as much information as possible so that the reader can find everything he needs to understand what happened. The problem is that by doing so, you also use the slides in your presentation, and that makes that there are too many slides to show, too much text, these little boxes in which you include all the information. Titles don't mean much in general, and the visuals that are used graphs, tables are generally not adapted and don't leave really enough white space so that the reader can understand better what's in the slide and what he has to remember. And the result is simple. When something is not beautiful, people don't want to look at it. If there is too much text, people will read it and will not listen to you and not focus on what you say. And finally, they will not be engaged. And the fifth main reason why finance presentation fail is the lack of preparation. Finance professionals do not prepare before delivering the presentation. And delivering the presentation is not just giving away information, it's also ensuring that the audience remembers and gets the message that you want to deliver. But it doesn't happen often because of lack of preparation. Lack of preparation when it comes to rehearse, and that makes that a lot of people are reading their slides, and let's be honest, it's not really engaging. Lack of preparation too in the potential questions that may come from the audience. It's a bit awkward when you are giving a presentation and that people are asking questions you cannot answer to, or for which you don't have a reaction that's prepared. And also, and this is the biggest point there, people are not at ease with public speaking. They are not at ease with their body, they are not at ease with their voice, they are not at ease with their gestures and how they speak to their audience. And the result, when you have such a delivery, is, of course, lack of engagement, lack of participation, lack of influence, and that makes that the finance presentation doesn't have the impact that you hoped for. But it doesn't have to stay that way, right? If we know what the problems are, if we know what the main issues are, we know what to work on. And this is where financial storytelling comes in. I know that when we speak of storytelling, people think of marketeers and TED Talks, but believe me, financial storytelling is a thing, and that exists, and you can work with it. You want to master the art of financial storytelling? Well, more insight is coming soon, so stay tuned for the next video in which I will explain my main framework.